All right. Yeah, I saw you moving your hips. That's good. That's good. I didn't know you had swivel hips, but it's good to know. That's the Samba Squad, direct from deep in the heart of Canada. You believe that? The Canadians. That was something called Batuque. It's the title track of their second album, which was released in 2006. But yes, music is indeed a universal language. This is Leid Stories. I'm Utrice Leid, and it is Free Your Mind Friday. Now, what does that mean? What are you supposed to do when you free your mind? Well, we suspend regular programming and instead establish an open forum for the expression of your innermost thoughts and ideas. And it is supposed to allow you to speak your mind. You have opinions that we can't normally or we don't normally accommodate during our regular uh, weekday show. So, this is a time, if anything that you're thinking falls outside of our pre planned shows, this would be the time to bring it up. However, may I warn you, that doesn't mean you get half a day to express your opinion. You have to move it along and you have to give us a sense of where you're going from the word go. It's also an exercise, I talked about it before, of learning how to use the medium and learning how to do so advantageously. From time to time, you never know, you may be called upon to participate in a conversation on air, on somebody's air, including our own. And you'll have to, you should have by now a sense of how you do that. You don't waste your time with uh, unnecessary details. You get straight to the point and you proceed from there. Now, it is really important to stay on point. Don't take us on a scenic tour, please. Get as close to your facts as you possibly can, as quickly as you can. Why are we going through these exercises? Because each of us, including those who call in, is potentially or already actually an agent of change. You may find yourself in some kind of a forum where you're expected to express an opinion and you want to be quite adept at doing that. You would want to know what makes sense to include, what does not make sense to include, how to stay on point so that if everybody's talking about apples, don't bring in oranges. Stick with the point and have a point of view. You should have a point of view. Don't just ramble. Just have a specific point of view. And that is why I'm encouraging you, just to keep us all on point, that as you start out with your presentation, you give us a declarative sentence that summarizes what your position is and what you're about to say and prove. Okay? So it might sound something like, I think that the Democratic Party is of no use and ought to be abolished. There you go. It's a declarative sentence. Now, people may not agree at all with what you're saying, but that's okay. They will have their turn to present their counterpoint, and they will be afforded the same uh, courtesies as you will be in making your argument. So it is about learning how to use the medium being very, very succinct but pointed. And everything you say should prove your point, should help you to prove your point, or should amplify your opinion. Okay? That's pretty much what it is. Free Your Mind Friday. All right. The number to call is 888-874-4888. And again, just be as succinct as you can. This is training for you, for all of us, really, because we all tend to stray and we all tend to lose our point that we tried to make. But this keeps us grounded, and it keeps it interesting because people know from the beginning where you're headed. And we can always tell if you didn't get there or if, in fact, you did. Harvey from Berkeley, you're on the air. Hello, Harvey. How you doing?
Pretty good, wonderful, Utrice, and I hope that you and your vast audience are having a wonderful day today.
Thank you. I hope it's the same for you.
Thank you very much. And as a child, I remember my mother was addicted to soap operas, and her favorite program was called As the World Turns, which was broadcast on CBS for about 54 years, from 1956 to 2010. Now I find myself watching a new soap opera called As the Trump Squirms, which is which is about a temper tantrum throwing, fast food eating, adolescent behaving grown up who just got fired from his job, and boy is he pissed off. Trump's self-righteous personality reminds me of Archie Bunker in All in the Family. And As the Trump Squirms is both really, really funny and terribly pathetic at the same time, with an all-star cast of supporting actors like the wild and wacky Rudy Giuliano, the more than pompous William Barr, and the mighty Mike Pompeo, along with his self-serving family members and freaked-out staff. And besides being very entertaining, it's a very important lesson as to how some people, especially the Donald, is willing to subvert the American Constitution in order to retain his presidential powers. Over the last 4 years, he has more than tainted the office with his poisonous personality. So my question is, will we, the taxpayers, have to pick up the tab for all the extra electricity that'll be needed to power the presidential paper shredders? My only hope is that Trump and his family members will make every effort to recycle the mountain of shredded documents and not just throw it into the local landfill. So I say, stay tuned to As the Trump Squirms. It's sure to get a laugh or two. Thank you, Utrice.
Thank you, Harvey. I think this is one of your first, most humorous editorials that you have filed with us, and it's a good change. Thanks so much for calling in. Gwen from New York, you're on the air.
Hi, Utrice.
Hello.
I did love Harvey's piece. Very entertaining, but I don't feel that way, and I feel very nervous and upset. My scenario is that I believe that Trump is conspiring to get a fourth term. And I believe that is the reason why he is firing. I'm sorry, second term. Excuse me, second term. Sorry, I meant second term. Excuse me.
Okay.
Anyway, I think the reason why he is firing all of these people in the Pentagon is because he does need the yes men, as SB said the other day. And what I'm calling for is to impeach and remove him before December 14th, when the House of Representatives ratifies the Electoral College. If this does not happen, 31 representatives from the Republican Party will vote not to accept the popular and the electoral vote, which will lead 19 Democrats to vote the other way, which means for the first time in the history of America that we could actually have the vote by the Electoral College and the popular vote not being accepted. I believe that what would happen after that would there be pandemonium in the streets. And I think that is one of the reasons why
Trump is attempting to install his own people at that level? Okay.
Yes. What he has done is he has taken very senior officials out, and he's replaced about 10 of them so far with these very junior officials, and all they have to show for their work is this blind allegiance to President Trump. I also heard Lindsey Graham the other day when Fox 5 put this idea out there, and he said that everything was on the table. And it seems to me that there is this blind allegiance to this president that will stop at nothing to keep him in. And this is why I think he has not conceded, and he doesn't plan to concede either. And I think that we'd all be foolish to look at what he's doing right now and just say, oh, it's some coincidence. There is a reason with only 70 days left in his job that he is firing entire cabinets of people that control the military. And I really believe that the nation is in a very, very bad predicament here. Joe Biden has not been ratified yet. He's not in there yet. Usually the way this works is all the states, each state gets one person to vote to ratify the election. And usually it's just ceremonial. Usually, if a Democrat wins or a Republican wins, they wish the other side good luck, and here's the vote, and they seal it, and we go on with our democracy, or so-called democracy. But I'm going to tell you that I think his behavior is alarmingly strange. There is just no reason for him to take down these very senior officials in the Pentagon. He's also going to take down the woman at the CIA. Now, I don't like any of these people, but what he's replacing them with, and Espy said this the other day after he was fired, he is replacing them with yes men. And these yes men will do whatever he wants. He is also asking on the day of the inauguration that all the Proud Boys come and the police come to that inauguration, basically to boycott it. So I don't think we're anywhere near home, near safe, or anything. I don't think we have seen the last trick of this president. And I'm asking people, I'm going to be calling my representatives, pointing this out to them, because it seems that nobody knows what to do in a situation like this. The only thing that I could think that you can do is you can actually impeach and remove him now, but it has to be before the 14th of December when that vote comes in, because if that vote comes in and it's 31-19, then Trump gets to keep his position. And basically, this really is a coup d'etat, because this is something that has been planned by conspiring with other people in the party, to not accept the results of the election. And this is the first time we've ever seen this. And as much as people might not like the way the country has developed or the way we do our so-called democracy, I think that it would be a lot worse under dictator Trump. And now this time it would be formally dictator Trump. The experiment called the United States would be over. We wouldn't really even have a chance anymore, because it sets a new precedent that every time there's an election, if you don't like the results, you simply don't accept them. But I think it'll be a very, very dangerous season if nobody challenges him on this.
Well, let's see what people are thinking out there about what you've just offered. Thanks so much.
Please think about it. Thank you.
Expressing your opinion. Thank you. Gamble from Florida, you're on the air.
Greetings. This is Gamba. Thank you for allowing me.
Gamba, is it?
Gamba, Gamba. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes. Greetings all. Very interesting. Prior to the election, there were so many black artists and so-called figures out there that were commenting on why we should not vote for Biden, or what we should exact out of them. So I had to write out my thoughts, and this is what I thought of. So many of us get caught up in things that don't really matter. We as elders need to be speaking to our youth about acquiring life skills so we can build buildings, repair machinery, so we can plant food, technical skills to repair plumbing, erect fences, animal husbandry, and on and on. Our ancestor, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, spoke of black people having no less than 12 skills, and we are yet to promote her ideas. So many brothers keep fighting each other because we disagree on one issue. But we have so many issues, and we get caught up on one. Let's talk about solutions that are basic and tangible. carpentry, machining, welding, electrician, plumbing, mechanics, marine or boat making, fishing, aviation, and on and on. But if someone says, I think you are a Biden supporter, then the flip to that is then you support Trump. My thoughts to that is that they are both a slave camp, and the choice for our survival should be like the Mennonite and the Amish people. They rely on no one but themselves, and they are still accepted in the USA. We don't have to follow every iota of their lifestyle, but become practical and logical and significant enough to be courted by either of the two parties. Malcolm preached it 60 years ago. I believe it can happen. All it takes is one step in the 100-mile journey. I'm doing my part with my son and friend as I write this essay to you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Okay, thank you for calling in and offering that. Mashu from Spring Valley, you're on the air.
Good day. And,
hello, how are you?
I'm phenomenal. I'm having fun. I thank you all, these previous callers. You have so much information, how wonderful you are. I wanted to talk about health care, and the beginning is a little history, just for a second. I was a very sickly child. I had 5 surgeries from the time I was 15 months till 8 years, always sickly. And when I was a kid, there was no wonder drugs, so you had to stay in bed, until your fever was gone. You could only have juices, the whole thing, natural caring. And you got better and you were out. Now, as soon as the wonder drugs came out, somebody gave me something, I got sick. And said I can't take medicine, et cetera, and so forth. And so tried to avoid it. And then in 1970, I met Dr. Warmbrandt, naturopathic doctor, and he guided me. I got really healthy. And then in 1980, I met Gary Null, and of course, he's the master. And so here I am, I'm alive. So what happened was that a doctor gave me some drugs, some medication. And I kept saying, medication is killing. It's not good. Everybody said, well, we can't see that. How could it happen? You shouldn't have those reactions. Well, I was dying. I don't want to tell you what was happening, but I was dying. Everybody wrote me off. I wrote my funeral speech. I was dying. And then last week, I remembered something Gary said. He said, no matter what you have, take a tablespoon of C every hour until you have a loose movement, and then just cut back. Don't cut out. Well, I did it, and it knocked everything out. And I'm here. I'm alive. Now, what I want to say is, I want everybody to have that opportunity to be able to know that there are natural healing, medical healing, whatever kind of healing should be available for everyone free, so that poor people, rich people, whatever, have the opportunity to make a choice, to look and see what things are like and use them. So I think that the big battle, one of the big battles, is health care. And whoever is backing us up or pulling us forward, we have to support wholeheartedly, along with all the other things we have to do. So this is an opportunity for us, I believe, and knowing history since Roosevelt, that if people don't do it, and he had a fireside chat every day, so that everybody knew what he was doing and they were behind him. So you have to get people behind you to help you with what you're doing. and go ahead and do it. Utrice, I love everything you do. I love the people on the station because they're so darn smart, and I thank you.
Thank you, and I wish you well.
Thank you so much.
Good health. Thank you. From Jersey City, Duke, you're on the air at 888-874-4888.
Hey, Utrice, how you doing?
Okay, how's about you?
I'm doing well. Your weather chilled out down there a little bit?
A little, not too significantly.
So it's not as bad as it was.
Oh no, it was not as bad as it was.
You stay safe. Listen, I was listening to what Gwen said, and I think she was right on point. This guy, he's up to something. We don't know what, but I'll say this. I am glad that they're having this hand recount in Georgia. And I think once that recount is done, and if it's concluded that Biden has more votes, I think Trump's plan becomes null and void. I think at that point, a lot of Republicans are going to just start saying this is a done deal. So I'm glad that they're having that.
Republicans are distancing themselves already from Donald Trump because they have some serious questions about his psychological state. We learned today that several dozen security people have come down with coronavirus. Those people obviously have been very close to Mr. Trump, guarding him. And probably he refused to wear a mask. So, the funny thing is, for me, very serious, I've been talking about Donald Trump being very unstable 4 years ago. And it is mind-boggling to me that all of the resources that we have, people in media, people, investigative reporters and all of that stuff, and nobody had come up. I shouldn't say nobody. I mean, in the sense that we are looking for it. 4 years had gone by, and he's been allowed to run loose, do whatever he wants to do, create all kinds of calamities.
I think his niece writing that book definitely.
I don't care what book he's writing. Look, he has had in the last week 2 law firms walk away from him. They finally came to the conclusion that they don't want him as a client. Okay? But that was visible. These signs were visible 4 years ago. I talked about it even before his inauguration. And here we are, supposedly discovering how should I say, unusual the president is. He's not unusual. He needs to be in an institution or hospital being taken care of. That's what he needs, and that's what the country needs.
I think those of us in New York, we knew it even before 4 years ago. So, but let me just say this one last thing real quick, Utrice. When I filed my taxes last year, right? I think I did probably what 90% of most Americans did. We filed by a system called e-file, meaning that you put all of your personal information, your salary, your social security number, or whatever else, digitally you sent it to the United States government. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you probably thought, man, this is risky. but you did it. And we all do it. I bet you at this point it's got to be 90% of the American population file their taxes that way. Why can't we vote that way?
I don't. I never did.
You don't do e-file?
Huh?
You don't do your thing by e-file?
No.
Okay, well I bet you're in that other 10%. I think most people do. But irregardless how many people do it, I'm just pointing out that it's a system that's already in place that we already use. I'm quite sure they can work a system out where we could vote the same way without the fear of it being hacked by Russia.
That is never going to go away. The fear of being hacked. There's always somebody who's going to figure out how to get it done and who would be very good at it.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, that's all.
It's so vulnerable. They haven't worked out all the kinks yet. Some things I'm grateful that they have because it's so useful. You don't have to get out and go travel to an office in order to get something done. You don't need to do that anymore. But really, we have taken this bait, hook, line, and sinker, that, hey, it's a new age. We can do these things, confident that everything is in good shape. But I'll tell you this, it ain't necessarily so.
I agree.
Well, thank you for calling and contributing today. Were you finishing up something?
No. I just wanted to throw that out there as a possibility.
Consider it thrown. Thanks so much. We'll take this short break and come back to your questions and comments and opinions at 888-874-4888. Listening to Leid Stories on PRN.FM. Today is Free Your Mind Friday, and that means you have the program all to yourselves to express an opinion about something you think really matters. It doesn't matter whether people agree with you or don't agree with you, but it is an opportunity to say exactly what's on your mind. If people react, they react. But it is important that you recognize that we think enough of you. We think it is important that you get to say what you have to say. And you saying it because it is important to you. Therefore, it should be important to the rest of us. At 888-874-4888, that's the number to call to get on air. We're doing this as part of our continuing exercise in learning how to use the medium as effectively as possible so that in any scenario where you're called upon to express an opinion, you have it down pat. You know what you're doing. We're listening to you and we're reacting to what you say. But it can easily be transposed to writing. You may want to write a short piece for a newspaper or send in an editorial, or just on radio or on television even. You can send your opinion piece in, and it will be cogent, and it will be succinct, and it will be tight, and it will be impressive. All right, so we're going a little bit by little bit, but we're accomplishing the goal. Mohammed from Yonkers, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, you chiefs. I sincerely hope your health continues to improve. And I just want to thank you for that. You really show a great deal of patience, and I appreciate that, And you are a very good listener. That's one of the primary qualities you have to be a psychotherapist. You have to be able to listen. And I see that in you that I see in more psychotherapists. I just wanted to say this about Mr. Trump, and I just want to ascertain what you said about something being wrong there. I am a psychotherapist, and I'm certified and licensed. He does, and normally we give people confidentiality, we be non-judgmental, and we recognize their right to self-determination. But his behaviors put him out there. So I'll just say this. He suffers from a narcissistic personality disorder. He suffers from a impulse control disorder. And he suffers from a delusional disorder. This young fella needs to be in treatment twice a week, not necessarily in a hospital, but he needs to be in treatment twice a week. I've treated people with those disorders quite often, and I can see them. Normally, it would take me 3 one-hour sessions to assess their diagnosis and then formulate a treatment plan. But with him, with his behavior and the way he communicates, you can just see him, and any mental health professional will ascertain that. And you are right. You need to be in treatment. But I'm going to just say this now. I'll stop and let someone else talk. Trump is symptomatic of an empire in decline. At the end of the empire, you get the worst of the worst. Thank you very much for hearing me. Have a very good day and continue to take good care of yourself.
Thank you, and thanks for contributing. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Bill from Brooklyn, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, you Teresa, and to everyone listening. Yes, I completely agree.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you so much. I completely agree with the previous caller, and as someone who worked his way through college at a place called the Yale Psychiatric Institute, I think he also needs to put on that Trump suffers from oppositional personality disorder. But I didn't call about that. But the reason I called is I'm just so happy and proud for Ms. Stacey Abrams, who, by the way, went to Yale Law School. And I think what she's doing and has done is magnificent. And I was just, I'm trying to find some way beyond the few coins that I can send to support her effort to really help build something like that she started. And I think what she's done kind of compels us to go back to what I heard happened back during the 60s when people from New York and the Northeast and all over the country would get on caravans and buses and go down and help get folks in the South registered to vote. And we see that the power is there, the people are there. They need help and they need encouragement, and they need to know that people will stand with them. And so I really hope that her organization can build what she's doing out to help bring about such an effort, because we cannot go back to what we are emerging from with Donald Trump. And I've had a couple sleepless nights when I've heard that he's talking about running again, which of course is very delusional. However, this guy is not going to go away quietly into the night. So those are some of the thoughts I've had, and I'd appreciate your thoughts or whatever the listening audience might be able to contribute. But thank you so much.
He doesn't scare me. Thank you for calling. He doesn't scare me at all. Trump is the kind of guy who is so self-destructive. All you have to do is pull up a chair and wait for the great finale, because it's coming. He's a self-destructive person. And not only self-destructive, he's just destructive across the board. He is so disturbed. And is dealing with some very deep-seated demons that we probably don't even know how to get to or should want to get to. This goes back to how he was raised, the fears, his father, and so forth, that have helped to create a most unpleasant, complicated man. But I don't find anything attractive about putting myself or other people putting themselves out of the way to help him. I think they've tried that already many, many times. It's not working. It hasn't worked. So we leave it to the professionals to figure that out. What we need to do is to find ways to keep him out of our misery. We don't need him to create more misery for us. We just need to have the space to figure things out ourselves, and we certainly can do that. It is, like I said, no surprise that even his lawyers are booking it now. They're saying, look, we can't handle you. We don't want to handle you. You have no intention of improving yourself. And you like who you are. You're so well adjusted to it. You love it. Anything that draws attention to you, whether good, bad, or indifferent, as long as people are talking about you, you're on a high. So to me, the obvious thing is to not talk about him. Just don't talk about him. And we have succumbed already. We have put him in charge of our program, of our, what is important for us to get done. He is controlling all of this by his behavior, and we are yielding to it time and again. News organizations as powerful as the New York Times and major television stations and people who are influencers, they're still reacting to him. The idea is to shut him down. Pretend he doesn't exist. And go on about your business. And I see that Joe Biden has gotten a hint of that and is continuing on his path, no matter how impossible Trump is attempting to make it. Just go ahead and mind your own business. Just go right ahead and do what you have to do. Ignore him completely, as if he does not exist, and score success after success. Like I said, today, he is minus his legal teams. 2 of them quit. They said, we can't take this. Even if we are getting paid well, we don't want to be associated with you. We have no interest in dealing with you and representing you. You're bad for our business. And that's exactly the attitude we ought to have. He is bad for our business. You push him to the side and forget that he exists. Let the professionals that he and his family would hire to take care of that, let them take care of that. That's their project. Don't make him our project. Not at all. He's a very sick man. And so sick, he defies the ability of mere mortals like us to figure out how to help him. In any event, that's not our job. Our job is to survive this particular creature and the evil things that he has already done and wants to continue to do. Our job is to survive. And so we have to implement tactics that would help us do that. And one of them is to push him out of our memory, our reality, and get on with our business. That's how you have to deal with somebody like that. Because the minute he senses that it bothers you, what he does, what he thinks, what he wants, he's got you. He's got you. Don't pretend he doesn't exist and keep moving in the direction that you want to move in. Whoever is able to help him from his family or even himself, let them do that. That's their homework. He's not my homework. And I won't accept the assignment. Not at all. You have to know what's going on in the sense that the whole thing is about manipulation. The whole thing is about compelling you to keep notice of him. And you must be bothered somehow. You must interrupt your life to accommodate his madness because he will do things to disrupt your life. The answer is no. You could never be that important in my life. I'm going ahead with my little thing that I'm doing. And good luck to you in what the heck it is, whatever you call that, whatever it is you're doing, good luck with that. But the last thing I would allow is a Donald Trump to make my life utterly miserable, and that I should be devoting substantial amounts of my precious time worrying about what he's going to do next. I have quite a few suggestions, but I don't think people will think they're kind, so I wouldn't suggest it. What I would say, though, is that I owe it to myself, I owe it to my community to really understand what is happening here and to not yield to what is such a cheap and obvious ploy to misuse and abuse my energy. And we should all think like that. This is your problem. You and your family deal with it. That's the attitude we ought to have. We still have some time for some more calls at 888-874-4888. It is, I continue to be stunned that where he is concerned, we just haven't figured out how to deal with this man. And we know it's not going to go anywhere good. We're not going to succeed at all in trying to, quote, reach him. That's not our job. That is not our job. And make yourself feel okay with that. That's not your job. Let whoever handles that, let them handle that. Move on with your life. Willie from Brooklyn, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, beloved.
Hello, Willie.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the PRN family.
Thank you.
What you just said, well said. This is why we're in your classroom, because you were so you're always no, don't laugh. I'm telling you something that is really real. Because I've been listening to you for like 30 since BI, and I've never found you to say something that's not true. I may disagree with you. For instance, when you spoke on Sister Brianna, I was in total disagreement, but I know I may be wrong, because I remember when you were in BAI, and you were getting rid of some of the bad apples in BAI, and it took me 30 years to find out. I wasn't in any agreement with you, but after 30 years of listening to it, I said, wow, I can't believe this. I found out how racist some of these people were that you threw out. Now, you know what I really want to ask you, Yatrice, because I got a thing on WhatsApp where there's a bunch of Trump supporters, so in the white nationalists and Proud Boys and them, they're having a million thing across the. Do you know anything about it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I really try to minimize their intrusion or presence in my mind. My mind is really very precious real estate to me, and I don't like anything there that is likely to get me upset or to possess my mind. No, I don't do that.
I just want to know if you know anything about it. That's all. Because just like you said before, it's of no interest to me, or it shouldn't be of any interest to you. I feel the same exact way. I just wanted to know because when I saw it, I said, a couple of friends of mine, we were discussing it, and I said, no, it's not true. It can't be true. This is something they made up. So I wanted confirmation from you because I know you know. Just, as a matter of fact, we call you Wikipedia. I wanted to hear from Wikipedia. If
what
this
they're trying
is
to do is it's so apparent. They want to get us under their control one way or the other, either through influencing, terrorizing, getting us to be fearful, getting us to spend more time worrying about them as opposed to worrying about ourselves and what it is we want to do. Yeah.
That day is easy. That day, you know, and I know, and most of us knows that day is over. This is why we have the NFAC. We're saying that you cannot abuse and kill our people. They're just in defense of black people. That's all. They don't hate nobody. They're not threatening nobody. But they're there to defend black people. And I'm one that believes that I will financially support them because everything needs just like we do PRN or WBI, everything needs to be financially supported. That's all.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because that's one of the weaknesses in our movements, and that is that we lack the kind of support that is desperately needed to keep our institutions independent and thriving and doing what they want to do and what they're dedicated to doing. We do need uh, 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 involvement, financial involvement. We need support. That has been a long held problem that we've been suffering. We don't get that support consistently.
I just need to know. I'll get what do you think. I will get 100 somebody. All right. I love you.
Okay.
I love you very shadow.
Oh wow! Thank you, Willie. Thanks so much. Thanks for calling in and cheering me up too, and cheering up a whole bunch of people, I imagine, as well. Okay. We still have room for at least one more call at 888-874-4888. It's Free Your Mind Friday. There's no script. There's no topic. That's all for you to determine. You decide what you want to talk about because you decide what is important to talk about today when it's Free Your Mind Friday. So you have a little bit of time, a sliver of time available, or you have more than enough time to make a point. 888-874-4888. Well, we're going to get better at this. We're going to get much, much better because, you see, I understand people are not accustomed to being asked to order their thoughts and then to present them. We're kind of shy about that. But don't be shy. Because the minute you hang up the phone, you start rattling off all kinds of opinions. But what I want you to develop is the habit and the attitude of presenting your opinions in such a way that whether people agree or don't agree, the fact is you have presented your point as comprehensively as possible. Edna from Brooklyn, you're on the air.
Everyone,
Well, I've been taking the poetry course, and I wrote a poem, and I want to share that poem just to kind of flip the script a little bit today, if that's okay with you.
What are you telling us?
I would like to read my poem.
Yes, but what are you telling us in your poem? The thing is that you should have an opinion.
Okay.
Do you have an opinion in your poem?
I do. It's sort of like a life experience in terms of yesteryears and then what's happening today.
Okay, well, we can allow it.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a little bit of doubt in there, but I'm gonna give it my best.
Because I like people to stick to the topic, and it is free your mind. We're expecting people to have a point of view when they call about a subject or an event or an issue, and that they're taking a position on that event or subject or issue.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to pass then. Sorry.
Not at all. I mean, don't feel upset about it. It's just that we're trying to be more disciplined in what we do, but we still have a couple of minutes. I don't think it would hurt. Well, sorry, Shauna, I did offer, but you weren't around to hear it. Sorry about that. We still have about 2-3 minutes, or 4 minutes, actually, as a matter of fact. Someone can use those 4 minutes before we take off. And they don't. But in any event, here's the thing. Don't feel upset about retraining the way you yourself and the way you think. Don't feel upset about it. Don't take umbrage at it. Don't think that people are trying to embarrass you or anything like that. It's not that at all. It is quite the opposite. Everybody calling this program is potentially a spokesperson for something in another realm. If you should have access to airwaves, on television, on radio, on some other medium, it is quite possible that you would be able to share a point of view that is not being heard anyplace else and that needs to be heard. However, you have to get your stuff tight. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to be in charge of your opinion. And so you can't easily be ignored. You can't be bamboozled. You know exactly where you're going with your opinion. You can't be thrown off. So this is important. And it's a skill that everybody needs to have. Everybody needs to have the skill of articulating a point of view that they hold. As I said before many times, it is not important whether people agree or disagree with you. It is important that you've done a credible and creditable job when you are presenting a point of view. That is a very, very important skill to have. And that makes you a conscious user of media. You understand how it works. You understand what you're called to do. You understand that you're operating within a tight time frame. You understand all of that. And still, you can deliver a heck of a presentation in the short time that you have and cause people to think or even rethink what they think they know or what they think they're thinking. It's a skill. And some people are excellent at it. And all of us need to be able to have that skill because each of us is a potential agent of change. And we say that because all we need is to present our ideas to an audience. And if you have the ability to do that, if you have the opportunity to do that, if you have the medium through which you can do that, that makes you a very important person in influencing people's thinking. We've come to the end of our program today. I want to thank you all for keeping things at a pretty high level consistently, and that's great. It's the weekend. As I always say, surround yourselves with people who mean you well and bring added dimension to your life. Relax a little bit, laugh a little bit, and we'll see each other on Monday.